I lost exactly 0 pounds. Not because home workouts don't work, but because of a pattern I didn't even recognize I was in. And in this video, I'm going to break down for you the exact reason home workouts stopped working at 3 months and how to fix it. And it has nothing to do with the program you picked. So here's what I know after 6 years of doing this, okay? Home workouts don't stop working in 3 months. You stop giving them something to adapt to. And the reason why follows a very specific behavioral pattern, one that has nothing to do with willpower and everything to do with who you believe you are when you press play. So let's start with the first piece, the novelty trap. Weeks 1 through 6 of any program usually feel pretty good, and they're supposed to. When something is new, your brain releases dopamine. Not for effort, but for novelty. The new schedule, the new instructor, the new exercises, that chemistry is real and it is what gets you started. But then around week 7, 8, maybe 10, the newness has worn off. And when it does, the drive just completely disappears. And the mistake that most people make is that assuming that the drive disappeared because the program stopped working. But it didn't. Your brain just stopped rewarding you for showing up in the same way it did in weeks 1, 2, 3, etc. The novelty ran out. And that's the first thing happening at that 3-month mark. Comfort seeking. The second piece is a little harder to see because it looks like effort. You're completing workouts, you're showing up. But here's the thing that I had to be honest with myself about. I was completing workouts. I wasn't challenging myself in them. And here's why that happens and why it's actually not a character flaw. Your brain and your body will always choose comfort over discomfort when given the option between them. Always. This isn't a willpower problem. This is how our brain is wired. It reads physical challenge the same way it reads threat. And its job is to root you away from threat. So when you reach for the lighter weight or you stay at the beginner modification you've been using since week 1 or whatever, then that's not laziness. That's your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. But the problem is that we're designing programs where our brain always wins. Same weight, same modification, same pace as week 1. But we call that consistency. Your body adapts to exactly what you give it. No more, no less. This is basically what progressive overload does and means. Your body needs increasing demand over time to keep challenging itself. If the demand never increases, the body stops changing. Not because it failed, but because it exceeded. It adapted completely to the stress you gave it, and now that stress is no longer a challenge. I know, it kind of sucks. But completing a workout and challenging yourself in a workout are not the same thing. And your brain, left to its own devices, will always, and I mean always, steer you toward the one that feels safer. And I didn't understand this for so many years. Nutrition avoidance. The third piece is one I'm personally embarrassed by because I decided that nutrition was just too hard before I ever actually tried to learn it. I looked at it, saw its complexity, and was like, that's not for me. And then I moved on. And then I just kept doing my workouts and I kept wondering why nothing was changing. Nutrition and training are not two separate things to get to pick between. They're part of the same system. And when you remove one half, not because you tried it and it didn't work, but because you decided it was just too complicated, then you've quietly made it impossible or nearly impossible to see results. And then you blame the program. And this is the piece that I think underlies all 3 of the others. Because when I look back at those years, I was not choosing workout programs. I was scrolling YouTube and pressing play on whatever felt manageable that day. And those are actually fundamentally different behaviors. Choosing a program means I've committed to a system with the end date. And I know what I'm doing on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, etc. I have a plan and I'm executing. Scrolling and pressing play assume I'm still a consumer phase. I'm just kind of sampling. And every time something gets hard or boring or uncomfortable, I have the option just to not press play on that thing tomorrow. The problem isn't discipline. The problem is that one of those behaviors belongs to the person who is training, and the other one belongs to someone who is simply working out or deciding if they're going to train. Most women who hit the 3-month wall are not in a plateau. They're just still deciding. They've never fully crossed the line from I'm trying to do this to this is what I do. And your body doesn't respond to trying. It responds to consistent, escalating demand over time. Identity is the container everything lives in. And just like that, the novelty drop, the comfort seeking, the nutrition avoidance, they're all a symptom of the same thing. So now I want to tell you where I actually landed on all of this because I think the proof matters here more than the explanation itself. I lost 40 pounds, not by finding the perfect program, but by stopping the scrolling, picking one program, and committing to the end date, even when it stopped feeling exciting. By starting to actually look at what I was eating instead of deciding it was just too complicated, and by getting honest with myself about the fact that I was completing workouts but never actually pushing myself within them. I'm also a licensed counselor, which is part of why I can explain behavioral patterns behind this. But I really don't think the proof is in the credentials. The proof is in the fact that I did it for 3 years one way and it didn't work. And then I understood what I know now and why it wasn't working, and then it started to work. So here's what I actually want you to do with this. First, audit whether you're completing workouts or challenging yourself in them. One honest answer. Are you using the same weights when you started, or are you still using beginner modifications? Be honest with yourself, not with me. Second, if you're starting a program, name the end date before you start. Not, I'm going to try this for a while. I'm doing the program. It ends on this date. I will finish. And that one shift changes the identity of the behavior before you even begin. And third, one nutrition step, not an overhaul. You're currently doing nothing, spend a week logging and eat without changing anything, just to see. You cannot fix what you don't actually know. So if this gave you something useful, then you should save it, because this is one of those videos that's worth coming back to when things get tough. And if you want to see what actual program commitments look like or reviews of programs so you can decide if that's the right jump for you, I'll leave some videos for you here. Or if you want some help deciding your next YouTube program, I'll leave that here as well. Make sure you subscribe if you haven't done so already, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye, friends.